Back in 2009, Aaron Greenwald from Duke Performances approached me about making a performance piece based on the H. Lee Waters footage housed at the Rubenstein Library at Duke University. H. Lee Waters was a portrait photographer who had worked in Lexington, North Carolina for a long time, came on hard times in the middle of the Depression, and bought a movie camera and decided to travel around the region making films of local people and showing those films in movie theaters in the towns where he had shot the footage, and people came to see themselves on the screen. He took very careful notes about what worked and what didn't. Some of those things were making the footage go backwards and forwards and do these sort of fun tricks with the camera. Sometimes the shots are so short you don't even see the character blink. But there still is some kind of motion and life in them that you don't get in still photography. I think he loved what he did. I know he was very charming and full of life, and when he'd go from the upper story of his studio to the bottom story, he'd slide down the banister. I got together with Finn Taylor, the film director and screenwriter, to ask him if he had any ideas and just brainstorm, I guess with a secret hope that he would fall in love with it and want to give over his life to it, as he did. We watched it in a hotel room in San Francisco one afternoon when I was on a tour, and for a long time, and he had tons of ideas about it. And then he asked me to get out my fiddle, and we immediately started working on it. Most of the stuff I've done in my life, I'm either the leader or I'm the side person. And I had really wanted to do something collaborative and get into that dance. One of my first approaches was collecting ideas and doing a little bit of research about the time, about what might have been going through people's minds, about movies they might have seen, about show tunes, trying to get a sense for what it was like to live at that time. I wrote probably like 3+ hours of music for the footage, and then we culled that and came up with an hour's worth. One of the phrases that I became really attached to was the City of Looms, which was a name for Kannapolis. For an artist, a loom is a very compelling place to start. It's a weaving together of lots of different fabric, it's a pattern. Also, just the sound of the word loom is so beautiful. When that phrase got lodged in my head, I immediately wrote a song for it. It goes, I'm going down to the city of looms, gonna meet my destination, gonna breed my family tree to someone with a southern sound. I'm going down to the city of looms, gonna bring my thread and needle, gonna lay my burden down on southern ground. You got those and I got these, I can share my cooties with who I please. God, I want to talk about nostalgia. It's a hard word. It's associated with a kind of over-sentimentalization of things. But really, it's a very intense feeling. It doesn't have to be a longing for something that is lost, necessarily. It can be just the feelings that are triggered by memory. In my conversations with a filmmaker, we talked a lot about it because I'm quite sensitive as an artist about not making things too sentimental. I wanted to present it to people so that it would trigger the audience's own feelings and not kind of tell them how to feel about it. One thing about the footage is that you notice how affectionate people are with each other. You notice, men walking with their arms over each other. You notice women skipping down the street together. There's a lot of touching and affection and interaction and engagement, which is very moving and is strikingly different than the look of the streets of any American town now. The people H. Lee Waters was filming were very unaware of what it meant to be filmed. They look into the lens very guilelessly and truthfully and movingly. Silver Ribbons is about being in the theater and watching a movie and watching moments that are immortalized and lost, and sort of about, it prepares people to leave the theater and go out into their, into the light outside the theater. It's dark in here, press your face against the window pane, close your eyes and dream of summertime while it's dark in here. It's darker still, hear the whirring of the silver stream, in the shadows diving in between. It's darker still.